should I allow pets in my rental? If you're a landlord, this is one of the most important decisions that you'll ever make. On one side, you're worried about scratched floors and damaged landscaping, insurance liability and complaints from neighbors or HOAs. And on the other side, you might be dealing with longer vacancies, fewer qualified applicants, and tenants who move out faster than you'd like them to. Today, we're going to unpack the real math, the real risks, and the real opportunity behind allowing pets in your rental property. And by the end of this video, you'll understand what smart landlords are doing today, what the data actually shows, and how to decide whether managing pet policies yourself makes sense or if you should consider hiring a property manager to do just that. And if you want a structured framework to think about the decision of allowing pets or not allowing pets and how to manage it, I've created a free pet policy checklist for Florida landlords. You can download it using the link in the description. So be sure to check that out. And if you want more content like this, please be sure to like and subscribe because we update this channel weekly with information just for landlords like you. Now, let's start with reality. We know Americans love their pets. Roughly 70% of households own at least one pet. According to the American Pet Products Association 2025 report, pet ownership is up 13% just since 2023. And with millennials and Gen Z, they are most likely to own pets, and they're also the most prevalent demographic in today's tenant pool. And that doesn't even tell the whole story. Research by the Pew Research Center found that 97% of U.S. pet owners say their pets are a part of their family to some extent. And to take it even further, about 51% of pet owners say that their pet is as much a part of their family as any human member. So we know the vast majority of Americans own pets and that they're as important to them as their human relatives. But when you look at rental housing, reported pet ownership is significantly less prevalent. In the 2026 State of Pets in Rental Housing survey, data shows that only 43% of renters reported having pets, a figure which, when we look at the average age and demographic of a renter, is about 50% lower than what we'd expect. So this gap tells us something important. Either landlords are restricting pets or tenants are hiding them. In fact, industry surveys consistently show property operators reporting rising pet ownership across their portfolio. This isn't a short-term trend. This is the new baseline of rental housing. And this isn't just a problem for cleaning up pet odors or stains. It's a significant loss of potential revenue, and it's also a blind set for asset protection. And what I mean by that is if you're not accurate in screening your tenants, documenting their pets, and verifying their pets at your property, you're more likely to have inadequate landlord insurance, inadequate property insurance, and inadequate lease language to protect you in the event of a bite or from major damage or even from the loss of a tenant's pet due to owner maintenance or owner negligence. So how do you capitalize on additional pet revenue opportunities while simultaneously reducing your vacancy and managing the risk of damage along with the complexity of ADA and fair housing laws? That's what I'm about to show you next. It should be clear now that when a landlord says, I don't allow pets, what they are really saying is, I'm willing to shrink my applicant pool by 2/3. Sometimes that's the right decision, but oftentimes it's made emotionally or from anecdotal accounts instead of strategically. And because allowing pets isn't just a lifestyle choice, it's a business decision, let's talk about the upside first. Landlords who allow pets typically see higher inquiry volume, more applications, stronger emotional attachment to the home, and better lease renewal rates. Now, according to current data, allowing pets increases tenant applications by an astonishing 40.78%. But that's not all. Allowing pets also enhances renter satisfaction by 26.95%, which has ancillary benefits, including the tenant being more likely to pay rent on time, take better care of the home, be kinder and friendlier to neighbors, give on-time notices to vacate, and report maintenance issues in a timely manner. And lastly, and maybe most importantly from a financial consideration, Allowing pets boosts lease renewals by 23.40%, which massively reduces operational costs and vacancy loss. But this might be something many landlords don't realize. Pets can generate income and meaningful income. Many operators charge pet rent, non refundable pet fees, or structured deposits. And when done correctly, this can materially increase total revenue, especially when compounded with shorter leasing periods and reduced vacancies. And while we're on the topic of shorter leasing periods and reduced vacancies, I just want to remind you, be sure to click the link in the description to view our rental profit gap finder to help you see where extended maintenance requests or extended leasing time might be eating into your profits. Now, as we click back to pets, I want you to pay attention to the Property Management Operators Report regarding pet related income increases. When using a written and clear pet management policies, operators report pet related income increases 30% or more. And that's because operators have more confidence in enforcing pet policies and charging fees when they are using a vetted, consistent system. So 30% is significant. But before you decide to allow pets across the board, we need to talk about the other side, because the biggest challenges are not always what landlords expect. Most landlords think, well, the biggest risk is physical damage to my property. Things like chewed doors or scratched flooring, destroyed yards. And yes, those things can happen, but the more complicated risks are operational and sometimes legal. So, for example, unauthorized pets are extremely common. Tenants might bring in animals without disclosure. They might foster pets temporarily. They might claim a visiting animal is not a resident animal, or they may misrepresent breed or size to avoid restrictions. And this creates liability and enforcement challenges. And then there are behavioral risks like noise complaints and bites and conflicts with neighbors and insurance coverage complications. And then we get into one of the most misunderstood areas in rental housing: assistance animals. Service animals and emotional support animals are not legally considered pets. Therapy animals are considered pets in many cases. However, some local housing authorities, municipalities, or even HOA or condo associations may have laws or regulations that further define or create restrictions around animals. So the distinction matters because in many situations, landlords cannot charge pet rent, they cannot collect pet deposits, and they cannot deny service or emotional support animals because of a no pets policy. Improper handling of these requests can create fair housing violation exposure. And this is one of the most common areas where self managing landlords unintentionally create legal risk. If you're going to screen pets a certain way for one tenant, then you have to be certain you're screening all pets and all tenants the same way, because failing to be consistent and have a documented process opens the door for accusations of disparate treatment or discrimination. And it's one of the biggest reasons structured policies matter. So if you're thinking this is more complex than I thought, you're not alone. That's exactly why we created the pet policy checklist for Florida landlords. It walks through screening, fee structures, compliance considerations, insurance implications, and practical risk management. And you can download it using the link in the description. Now let's talk about something even more surprising and revisit what many professionals call the pet visibility gap. The pet visibility gap refers to landlords who ban pets but frequently still have pets in their properties. They just have no control over them. They have no screening, no documentation, no structured fees, no behavior standards. This is actually the worst case scenario because you still carry all the risk of having pets in your property, but none of the revenue or oversight. Professional operators solve this by implementing pet management systems. They track animals, they screen them, they verify documentation, they set expectations, and they enforce policies consistently. This transforms pets from unmanaged risk into structured operational variables. And this is the key shift. Allowing pets is not the challenge, managing pet policies is. because now you're dealing with insurance compliance, lease language, fee structures, behavior enforcement, damage recovery, accommodation requests, regulatory compliance, tenant communication, documentation, and consistency. So it's no longer just a leasing decision, it's a management discipline. And this is where many landlords start to feel overwhelmed because they entered rental ownership thinking about pricing and maintenance, not regulatory nuance and behavioral policy enforcement. So, should you allow pets? In many markets and many property types, the answer is yes, but you need to be prepared to manage the complexity correctly to capitalize on additional revenue. And otherwise, you can end up with hidden animals, uncollected income, avoidable disputes, insurance problems, and compliance risk, which is exactly why professional property management exists. And I'm going to show you how we navigate these complexities at CDOG Property Management. First, we help landlords implement structured pet policies like you see here. And these policies balance demand, revenue, and risk. What you're seeing here is a fair and objective risk assessment score called a FIDO score. And using this structured scoring, we assess a risk-based fee assigned using the same process across all applicants. And this is not only to help us avoid making inadvertent discriminatory decisions, but also to help us ensure we don't lose out on revenue and asset protection from higher risk animals. This score is assessed based on a comprehensive tenant pet screening profile, like you see below, and our written pet policy is available for all tenants to view at all times prior to the time of application or even prior to viewing a home. So as you can see, we handle screening, documentation, fee administration, compliance processes, tenant communication, damage accountability, so owners can capture the upside without carrying the operational burden alone. So if you want to understand how to approach pets at your property, start by downloading the pet policy checklist for Florida landlords using the link in the description. It will help you think through this decision in a clear and structured way, and maybe reveal some blind spots that you might have. And if you decide you don't want to manage all this yourself, visit cdogmgt.com to learn how we help landlords across Greater Orlando and the Space Coast lease smarter, manage better, and collect more revenue from their properties. If this video helped you, please go ahead, like, subscribe, and share it with someone else who may find it helpful. We break down real landlord decisions like this every week. It's important to remember that pets are not the risk, unmanaged pet policies are. And I'm Don Harkins, licensed real estate broker, owner, operator of CDOG Property Management. I'd like to thank you for watching this video and hope to hear from you soon. Take care.